morning. This is Lance Kenmore with the Kenmore team, and I'd like to welcome you to this week's edition of the TriCities Real Estate Update. As always, you can contact me, Lance Kenmore, anytime direct on my cell phone at 727-8977, or visit us on the web at kenmoreteam.com. Once again, I always like to thank John for hosting and everybody here at the station for working to make this happen. Mr. John McKay, COVID update number 7. How are you doing in week 7 here?
Well, let's see. I'm listening to Lunatic Fringe, Twilight Zone, Tom Cochran. We're kind of out of, it's very surreal.
It's very surreal.
Yeah.
Yes. And and here we are in, who knows what phase we're in at any given time. Phase 1, maybe. Phase 1A.
Phase 2, 3B, slot A, tab A.
But yes, we are still allowed to sell real estate. We are still allowed to talk about selling real estate and to show houses one person at a time.
Exactly.
Following our phased guidelines. But I got to tell you, the market's starting to heat up a little bit. And we've got some more activity. People are out there looking. We're putting more contracts under contracts. We're getting more pending. So it's nice to see that, we're actually seeing some movement again in the market. I think there's some more positive news this week than we've seen the last 4 or 5, for sure. Well, we always like to start off with our crazy celebrity real estate story. And this week, I'm going to take us to that whole Kardashian clan. Kylie Jenner, who is the youngest billionaire on Forbes' list.
Okay.
I think she's the one that has the cosmetics line. I wouldn't know. I hope I'm making my wife proud there. Okay, gotcha. so anyway, big time money. She recently paid $15 million for a 5-acre parcel, empty lot in Hidden Hills, California. I couldn't believe that, for a lot.
Wow.
No house on it, empty land. There was talk, a lot of these deals, they go through a massive planning process. It did say that it came with a pre-approved project plans, which can be in the millions of dollars to get that through, for an 18,000 square foot mansion with a 12-car garage and a guest house.
Wow.
Now, the land previously owned by Miley Cyrus, and which she let her horses. Now, that's an expensive horse pasture. If you ask me, that's an expensive anything. So kind of interesting. But I guess when you're at 9 figures, when you are a billionaire, a little expendable cash to spend on projects like that.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Yeah, absolutely. I think it said in the article that she already owns 2 other houses in the area, so she's becoming a little real estate mogul at the same time. So it'll be interesting to see what gets built on that property, and that is definitely this week a crazy celebrity real estate story. Well, we always like to temper that with a national story that relates to our local real estate market. So I always like to look at outlying statistics and then see how that could potentially be affecting real estate. Have you ever heard of that book, Outliers, McKay?
I believe so.
It's where they talk about the kids that were born in January and February have a 90% more likely chance to make it to the NHL. And so it's called Outliers. Great book. So I always like to look for outlying statistics that might be affecting the real estate market. This week I came across one from Elliot Eisenberg, and he reported that here's an interesting national statistic. So prior to COVID-19, marriage rates fell to 6.5 marriages per 1,000 people. That's the lowest level of marriages since 1867.
Wow.
So it's interesting because we have the largest population right now being millennials, entering peak marriage time, but those rates are still falling. So I always like to look at that and say, how is that going to affect house sales? Well, interesting, as we have now gone through the pandemic scare, and we look at that, a lot of people, I think you will see them put off marriage because of financial reasons.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I also think where last year we reported as millennials being the largest home buying class, I think we're going to see that percentage because of marriage rates falling and because of the financial stress. I think at the end of the year this year, when we're looking at that report, we are going to see the millennials be a less powerful buying class because of those reasons and some of the job categories that were most affected by the pandemic. So there we go. Lance taking his outlier statistic and making my predictions into the real estate world because of that. Then once we get through our national stats, let's talk a little bit about what is happening in the Tri-Cities real estate market and what that looks like. This week, Tri-City Association of Realtors releasing finalized data for April and what those market numbers look like. Total sold in April, we're looking at 329, according to the Tri-City Association of Realtors, versus our March sold, which was 390. So we're at about a 17% drop in sales in April, which, when we're looking at what's happening nationally, we're looking at the restrictions that have been put on the industry, I think we're faring pretty well here. That's a positive number for what's been going on in my book. The number that's a little bit scarier of what will happen when next month's numbers are reported is the pending number. Yeah. So, for instance, we just had 329 sold in April. At the end of March, pendings were reported at 423. Now, at the end of February, pendings were 471, which gave us that huge number in March of 390. Pendings this month in April, at the end of the month, was 367, which would indicate even a little further drop in our solds coming this month. So some of those numbers we have to look at as a leading indicator versus what just finalized. The other thing to report, which is really interesting to take a look at, is April setting, and I mean, it's shocking that I'm saying this right now, April setting the highest average sold price ever recorded by the Tri-City Association of Realtors. When you look at that number, 340,000. So you're like, we're in the middle of a freaking pandemic, and Lance is on the radio reporting the highest average sales price. Like, those two things just don't compute.
Go together, yeah.
And so as we dig into that data and we look at that, one of the things, there's a couple things that can be happening there. We have Hanford here, massive employer. We have employees generally not affected or furloughed by that, also still receiving their pay. A lot of higher income jobs, people were still able to make decisions, make moves. In fact, some of those people had more time to make those decisions and moves because they weren't working daily. So we had higher price points have an interesting spike in the movement there on what was going on. Now, it wasn't a huge jump. The previous month was 334, but if you go back to February, we were at 317. I mean, ticking back up. The other factor to consider in that is also inventory. So total number of active listings reported at the end of April, there are only 430. Well, when you look at 329 sales and only 430 on the market, I mean, we're talking about a 1.3 month supply of homes.
Not much.
We've talked on the radio show before. A 6-month supply of homes is a balanced market, equal, what we really call equal numbers of buyers and sellers. Neither one has a real advantage. So we're not talking it's like half that. We've got a 3-month supply, or two. We're at a 1.3. If no new homes came on the market, we would eat that inventory up in a matter of in a month.
Yeah.
And so supply and demand, when that is the situation, prices are going to stay up. And so that's one of the things to really look at is, why haven't prices fallen? I get that question a lot. Why haven't prices fallen here? We're in a pandemic and people aren't working. It's harder to see. Well, when it comes down to it, the number of sales that are continuing to happen even during this time, proportionate to the amount of inventory we have, is maintaining prices because of basic supply and demand in that situation. So really interesting to see those numbers reported. Some positive news. We've had so much negative news in the market. Some positive news for the local market.
Exactly.
There. Now, a couple weeks ago, I warned about lending and tightening restrictions in the lending field. Very, very interesting. I brought with me an actual document that I saw this week. We talked about a few weeks ago that there were going to be some changes in the lending environment, that we were going to see some new things happening. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm starting now to see those actual documents that borrowers are signing with those changes in them. It's very, very interesting. So I brought some language that I'm seeing from closing docs that the borrowers are seeing now. This certification is being made during a declared national emergency caused by COVID-19. What is the certification? Borrower declarations that the borrower is making. I understand that the lender is relying on the truthfulness of the below statements. That statement is, since my original loan application, I have not had any adverse change in my financial position that will affect my ability to make mortgage payments.
Wow.
I am gainfully employed, earning the same income level as listed on my mortgage application.
Oh.
I remain current on all of my credit and housing obligations. I am not aware of any changes, pending or otherwise, to my employment income or liabilities.
Wow.
Then it goes on to say, this is like spelling it out very particularly. I certify and I'm aware that I am obligated to make my first mortgage payment by the due date, as well as all subsequent payments. I'm providing this mortgage expecting timely payments. Because of your statements, your mortgage loan might be ineligible for forbearance under the CARES Act. So what we talked about a few weeks ago is that lenders, are deathly afraid of borrowers missing that first payment. Because if they don't make that first payment, then that loan becomes ineligible to be sold on the secondary market. Mm-hmm. The servicer providing that loan is stuck with that on their books, which ties up exponential amounts of capital for them to make new loans.
Yes.
For instance, it's not if you hold a $300,000 loan, you can't make another $300,000 loan, because they won't hold that. If they're now holding a $300,000 loan, they might not be able to make an additional $2 million, 6 or 7 more loans, because they were stuck with that one. So really interesting that now, and this declaration that we're seeing people sign now, if you really read through your deed of trust and your lender documents, when you're a buyer, you go from the bank and those loan documents, there's probably, 70 pages in some of those when you look at all the deeds of trust. It probably says all of what we went over except the part about COVID-19 in those loan docs. But, a lot of times, does borrowers
spell it out for you?
Do they read those 70 pages? Do they go through all of that? But also the borrowers, they're very concerned that these loans that they're making, that those first payments are going to be made. And so they're adding another layer of declarations to protect the lender in that environment. Mm-hmm. So what we talked about 2 or 3 weeks ago, really interesting to see us having that discussion and now see those documents showing up in front of our buyers to sign. Well, coming up on our first break, when we come back, I'm going to talk about the multiple offer situation. Weird times to be talking about it, but we talked about our low inventory. How do you as a buyer win those multiple offers in this market when you find the right house?
And we will explore that next on News Talk 870.
Welcome back to the TriCities Real Estate Update. We've been having some good news out there.
Yes.
The weather's good. People are out looking. People are getting used to our protocols for showing, so it's not as big of a deal anymore. And so, we're busting out some sales and getting some things on the market, but they're selling really fast. But we did put on some amazing new inventory this week. So I want to get my pick 3 out there so that people know what is happening.
Yes.
There are some fun houses. I mean, when you look at real estate, there are some fun houses that we put on. And so this was just a great listing this week, unexpected. So 4 West 3rd Avenue in Kennewick. So just off of Washington Street down there in Kennewick. And I tell you what, this is a piece of history. This is a 1904 built 4-bedroom, 2-bath home right in the heart of central Kennewick. There. But it's not what you would expect from a 1904. It is stunning. It's 1866 square feet. It's got a covered front porch, which they've updated and redone with the Trex decking. Beautifully updated, but they kept some of the original charm of the house. For instance, they did original doors, and then they took some of the original oil light fixtures, but converted them to electric.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really freaking cool. Like, this is an awesome house. Raised ceilings. Then they went through, they updated, they did new LVP flooring in some of the areas. The kitchen has granite counters, updated cabinets. But what's so cool is, so you get that kind of modern look and updated look in there, and then you come around the corner into the living room and you get that old staircase.
Ooh.
That thick wood banister leading upstairs. And I mean, it's an awesome, awesome house. They've got some of the clawfoot tubs still in the house.
Oh, those are cool.
And then here's the kicker with this location that I was not expecting. A 40 by 22 4-bay shop out back.
Wow.
So central Kennewick, 4-bay shop, new roof in 2018, new Lennox heat pump and new interior paint. And this is coming in at $318. I mean, this is an awesome, awesome property, and just a super cool sale to be involved in. So we're so excited about bringing that to market. Pick number 2, 5559 West Umatilla in Kennewick. So that's just right around the corner from the Tri-City Court Club. Great location, close to parks, close to shopping. Eventually, you'll be able to shop again. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And so
sooner or later.
Great location. So this is the Acacia floor plan by Ambiance Homes. This is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-story, great room concept, just at 2,000 square feet. Awesome quality built home. And that is priced at $315,000. So you're getting basically brand new construction right in West Kennewick, and it's coming in at $315,000. Awesome home by Ambiance Homes. And then pick number 3, I'm going to take you out to West Richland, 721 Pinnacle Drive. Fantastic neighborhood out there. Pride of ownership throughout the neighborhood. This house, 3138 square feet. Spacious entry hall greets you as you walk in. You've got an oversized great room for those large family gatherings when you're allowed to have them again, for sure. As well as a fireplace, and then you've got that amazing kitchen that everybody loves to hang out at. You've got a 4x8 granite island in the kitchen, and then this has that I call it the quarantine refrigerator freezer. It's the double door, commercial stainless fridge. Just awesome kitchen. When you put that together with the island, fantastic property. Master suite is grouped with 3 additional bedrooms up, plus 1 on the main level that's perfect for guests. And this has got a large fenced backyard, covered patio. You're getting that in West Richland for $449,900.
Wow.
And so great deal. So, I mean, pick 3 this week. Like, even though these properties are moving fast, if you have any interest in seeing those properties, go to kenmoreteam.com, shoot us a message. We would love to get you through those this weekend. Now, our topic, we've been talking about what's going on with COVID-19. Lower inventory still in our market, higher average sales price. Part of what's happening, especially when we see stuff under 300, is everything is still multiple offers. We had numerous properties sell under multiple offer position last week, which I know people are still surprised by, and I feel like they're getting caught a little bit flat-footed and are not prepared for that. So as I reviewed those this week with people, I wrote down some notes about what was happening and what sellers were accepting in this market. And so with multiple offers, you used to see, say, well, let's call it the old days. Let's call it 6 months ago.
Okay.
So in the old days, during multiple offers, people would write what they would call the seller love letter. So they would write a letter about themselves to the seller. Well, let me tell you what's replaced the love letter. The new love letter is the employment letter, because that's what sellers are concerned about right now. How lendable is this person that has put this offer in front of me? So drop some of the love letter language in there, fluffiness, and let's get to the heart of the matter. When we were reviewing multiple offers, the best agents in our market were sending an employment letter with their offer. Say, here's where my client works, here's how long they've worked, here's what their hours have been like through the pandemic. And someone as far as to have their direct supervisor or owner of the company verify that and send that email in with the offer. Let me tell you, that's really powerful when you're sitting down with a seller and they are reviewing that. And here's somebody they know nothing about, and they have a pre-approval from an online lender. And here's somebody who has a pre-approval from a local lender and documentation about their job. It was a no-brainer for the sellers in those situations, especially with what's going on. So consider an employment letter with your offer about some background. It's only going to help you in these situations, especially when you're in multiple offers. Number 2 thing that I wrote down, I saw a number of escalation addendums that went with offers and multiple offers this week, and most of them were garbage. They were done wrong. Let me tell you why. We were competing in many situations, and when you do an escalation offer, it's designed to help you get the home, but also save you from overpaying. So for instance, if the purchase price is $300 and 3 offers are coming in, you can say, I'm willing to escalate to $310, and I'll give $1,000 over the next best offer. Sounds like a great idea. You're only going to go up by those increments, so you're not going to pay too much. Here's the problem that I've seen in this current market right now. $1,000 increment right now is not enough money to sway the seller's decision. If you've got that employment love letter, or let's say, and somebody's got great employment, and you're saying you're $1,000 over that offer, but you don't have that. Or the other offer is conventional financing, or the other offer has waived their inspection, but you're going to do an inspection and you're $1,000 more than they are. $1,000 in general in that price point of $300, it's not enough to change the seller's mind. Now, maybe you go up as an increment of $2,500. You've already said you're willing to pay $10,000 over to get the house. If you go $2,500, now you're making the seller make a hard decision. You know, it's easy. They're like, for $1,000, I want the deal done. I'm going to do it. In general, I see the sellers say that's easy. Now it's $2,500. now it's 2 months of mortgage payments, or now it's, all new appliances in the next house they're moving to. Now you're forcing the seller to make a much harder decision. If you really want the house and you're in multiple offers, consider an increment of over $1,000 if you really want the house. Third thing that I wrote down, buyers out there missing their opportunities in multiple offer situation. Too low of earnest money. Okay. In general, you have 6 different ways and contingencies to get out of the contract. So if financing doesn't work out, you're going to get your earnest money back. So if you have the cash available and you're going to get it back if you don't get the loan, what's the difference between $2,000 and $5,000? There's not. If you're going to get the money back, do you really care what check you give me today? No. And so once again, this comes down to how badly do you want the house? Now, there is some inherent risk in that because, yes, if you go past your financing contingency and then something happens with employment, now you do have $5,000 at risk. So there are incremental risks there, but if you're in multiple offers trying to get the house, talk about these risks with your agent. Go over what that looks like. Talk to them about how badly you do want the house compared to if you don't. These are the things I'm talking about today make no difference if you don't really care about the house. If you just want the best deal, well, we probably shouldn't be in multiple offer situation anyway. But if this is the best house available for you during this time, these are things to consider. Fourth thing that I wrote down and last thing to go over is work the closing dates with your lender. And then find out what's important to the seller. Maybe they want to close quickly because they already have their new house done. Maybe they want to close 60 days instead of 30 because their new house isn't done. Try to find out ahead of time what those dates look like ideally, and then structure your offer that way before you send it in. That way when the seller's looking at multiple offers, you have already met their obligation of dates and your offer doesn't get discounted for that. So those are some of the crazy things that I saw happening this week and the differences for how buyers' offers were being chosen at the negotiation table. Wanted to get that information out there. If people are missing out on those or have questions about those, go to kenmoreteam.com, shoot me a message. I have an amazing group of agents that are helping buyers win multiple offer situations and get into houses right now. Probably the most fun I have had in 4 weeks, coming and reporting today about what's going on in the real estate world in Tri-Cities and what's happening. It feels like we have made the turn a little bit here with COVID. It's day by day, and that's what happens. But as far as real estate goes, things are selling. Things are selling for great prices and some great signs of life. So we'd love to help as many people as we possibly could. Many of you listeners and people out there have been watching the videos and going online have reached out to us, and thank you for that. And we are here to help and looking forward to another awesome week and things getting better and better. Look forward to being back here next week.
Right here on News Talk 870.